Deep beneath the waves and shrouded in fog, America's haunted ships hold secrets darker than the ocean itself. From restless spirits wandering rusted decks to chilling whispers echoing through abandoned corridors, these vessels aren't just relics of history. They're floating gateways to the supernatural. Tonight, we dive into the top 10 haunted ships in America, where every shadow could hide a ghost, and every creak might be the call of the lost. Dare to join the voyage into the unknown. 1. USS Yorktown, Ghost Tour, Charleston, South Carolina. Moored silently at Patriots Point in Charleston, South Carolina, the USS Yorktown appears lifeless by day, but after dark, the legends awaken. This massive World War II aircraft carrier, once a symbol of American power, is now haunted by whispers of the past. Crewmen who died in combat, and those who met darker fates below deck, are said to never have left. Visitors report footsteps echoing in empty corridors, cold spots in sealed engine rooms, and shadowy figures lurking near the sickbay, where one sailor allegedly bled out, screaming for help that never came. Paranormal investigators have recorded EVPs, mournful cries and urgent whispers, and more than one guest has fled in terror after seeing a ghostly officer standing silently on the flight deck. The USS Yorktown Ghost Tour isn't just a walk through history, it's a descent into the unseen, where steel walls hold secrets, and the dead still serve. 2. USS Nightmare, Newport, Kentucky. Docked on the dark waters of the Ohio River in Newport, Kentucky, the USS Nightmare is more than a haunted attraction. It's built on true tragedy. Once a working dredge boat known as the William S. Mitchell, it earned the nickname Death Dredge after a series of horrific accidents claimed multiple crew members. Rumors swirl of a monstrous figure known as the Captain's Son, a disfigured child who was hidden deep below deck and grew up in isolation. Visitors report hearing chains dragging, sudden screams, and an oppressive force pressing down in the lower levels. Some say they've seen the boy's twisted shadow slither across the walls, or felt icy fingers brush their skin. The ship groans at night, like it remembers every lost soul. This isn't just a haunted house, it's a floating tomb, and when the fog rolls in, the line between nightmare and reality disappears. 3. USS Sakum Ruins, Lawrenburg, Kentucky. Deep in the woods near Lawrenburg, Kentucky, the skeletal remains of the USS Sakum rot in silence, forgotten by time, but not by the dead. Once a proud naval vessel used in both world wars and even by Thomas Edison for secret experiments, the ship now lies abandoned in a swampy grave, rusting beneath vines and shadows. But it's not just the decaying steel that chills the air. It's what lingers within. Locals whisper of ghostly figures seen walking the deck, and strange lights glowing from inside the hull, though there's no electricity. Paranormal investigators report cold spots, drained batteries, and an overwhelming sense of dread. Some believe Edison's experiments may have torn a hole between worlds, opening a path that was never meant to be walked. At night, the fog clings to the vessel like a shroud, and the silence is broken only by distant footsteps echoing through hollow corridors. The USS Sakum isn't just a ruin, it's a doorway to the lost, and perhaps to something far worse. 4. USS Wisconsin, BB-64, Norfolk, Virginia. Docked at Nauticus in Norfolk, Virginia, the USS Wisconsin BB-64 looms like a sleeping beast, cold, massive, and haunted by war. This Iowa-class battleship saw fierce combat in World War II, Korea, and the Gulf War, but some say not all its sailors made the journey home. Beneath its steel decks, something lingers. Visitors report eerie whispers in the communication rooms, sudden chills near the mess hall, and the distant sound of boots pacing when no one is there. One chilling tale speaks of a sailor crushed in a turret during a malfunction, his screams echoing long after the guns went silent. Staff have heard knocking from inside sealed compartments, and shadowy figures often appear in the engine room, only to vanish. Paranormal teams have recorded unexplained noises, and more than one guest has refused to return below deck. The USS Wisconsin isn't just a relic of war. It's a steel graveyard, where the past refuses to be forgotten, and the dead still answer the call to duty. Five, USS Lexington, Corpus Christi, Texas. Anchored in Corpus Christi, Texas, the USS Lexington, nicknamed the Blue Ghost, earned her name not just for her ability to reappear after being declared sunk, but for the spirits said to haunt her still. This colossal aircraft carrier fought fiercely in World War II, and death walked her decks more than once. Visitors tell of disembodied voices calling out from dark corridors, cold spots in sealed rooms, and flickering lights in areas cut off from power. Most chilling is the apparition of a young sailor in a white uniform, who appears with a smile, then vanishes into thin air. He's been seen so often that the staff have given him a name, Charlie. Some guests have even claimed to feel hands pushing them gently, or not so gently, while descending narrow stairwells. The engine room pulses with a heavy, unseen presence, and EVPs have captured urgent whispers and cries for help. The USS Lexington is more than a floating museum. It's a warship echoing with the restless dead, and some say it never truly left the battlefield. 6. USS Salem, Quincy, Massachusetts. Docked in Quincy, Massachusetts, the USS Salem rests in eerie silence at the United States Naval Shipbuilding Museum. But the quiet is deceiving. This Des Moines-class heavy cruiser, once known as the Sea Witch, served with pride during the Cold War. Yet in her later years, she became a temporary morgue during a catastrophic earthquake in Greece, storing the bodies of hundreds of victims. Since then, strange things have plagued the ship. Visitors report icy drafts where no wind should reach, doors slamming without warning, and shadowy figures watching from the infirmary, the very place the bodies were held. The most haunted section? Sick bay. Guests often feel nausea, hear distant weeping, or even see full apparitions of former sailors and civilians alike. Electronic devices malfunction, and EVPs reveal ghostly voices whispering in languages not even spoken aboard. The USS Salem is more than a museum piece. It's a steel coffin with restless souls sealed inside, and they're not ready to be forgotten. Seven, Duluth Haunted Ship, Duluth, Minnesota. In the icy port of Duluth, Minnesota, the SS William A. Irvin sits shrouded in fog, silent, cold, and haunted. Once a proud iron ore freighter, this massive vessel now transforms each fall into the infamous Duluth Haunted Ship. But behind the staged scares lies a deeper, darker truth. Crew members once died tragically aboard, one crushed in the engine room, another drowning during a violent storm. Visitors report strange cold spots, doors slamming by themselves, and footsteps echoing through empty steel corridors. The most unsettling tale? A shadowy figure seen walking near the crew quarters, vanishing just before being approached. Paranormal investigators have captured unexplained whispers, sudden spikes in EMF readings, and even fleeting images on thermal cameras. One staff member swears he heard his name whispered in his ear when no one else was there. The SS William A. Irvin doesn't just host ghosts for Halloween. The spirits that roam her halls are permanent passengers. 8. USS Hornet, Sea, Air, and Space Museum, Alameda, California. Moored in Alameda, California, the USS Hornet looks like a proud warship frozen in time, but beneath her decks lies a chilling legacy. This aircraft carrier served in World War II and Vietnam, recovering Apollo astronauts and enduring countless battles. Yet it's not just history that lingers on board, it's the dead. Over 300 sailors died on the Hornet, many by tragic accidents, combat injuries, and suicides. Visitors report ghostly footsteps pacing empty hallways, distant screams echoing from locked rooms, and figures in full uniform disappearing into the walls. The sickbay is especially active, where beds creak under invisible weight and whispers come from empty corners. One maintenance worker claimed he was shoved by unseen hands, and another refused to ever step below deck again. Paranormal teams have recorded voices, shadow figures, and sudden drops in temperature. The USS Hornet is more than a museum. It's a haunted fortress where time stands still, and some souls never disembarked. 9. USS Slater, Albany, New York. Docked on the Hudson River in Albany, New York, the USS Slater may look like a well-preserved World War II destroyer escort, but when the sun goes down, something stirs beneath the steel. Once a hunter of enemy submarines, the Slater witnessed death in the depths of the Atlantic. Some say the souls of lost sailors followed her home. Visitors report hearing phantom footsteps in tight corridors, the clang of unseen tools in the engine room, and sudden whispers in the radio control room, often calling out names from the ship's manifest. One former guide claimed to see a sailor vanish into a locked compartment, only to find it completely empty moments later. Cold spots appear without reason, and electronics often fail without warning. Paranormal investigators have captured eerie EVPs, faint cries, heavy breathing, and distant Morse code signals. The USS Slater isn't just a tribute to naval bravery. It's a haunted vessel adrift in time, where the past refuses to stay buried. 10. Ghost Ship Harbor, Quincy, Massachusetts. Hidden within the foggy waters of Quincy, Massachusetts, Ghost Ship Harbor holds secrets darker than the depths below. For centuries, sailors whispered of phantom vessels appearing suddenly in the mist, ships with no crew, drifting silently as if caught between worlds. Locals tell stories of eerie lights bobbing on the water at night and ghostly figures standing on forgotten docks. The most chilling tale is of a shipwreck long ago, where the entire crew vanished without a trace, leaving behind only an empty vessel that some say still returns to haunt the harbor. Visitors have reported hearing distant, mournful cries carried on the wind, sudden drops in temperature, and shadowy shapes glimpsed just beyond the shoreline. Electronic equipment malfunctions mysteriously here, and many feel an oppressive presence that refuses to let go. Ghost Ship Harbor isn't just a place. It's a gateway to restless souls trapped forever between sea and sky, doomed to sail the mist for eternity. These haunted ships remind us that some souls never find rest, trapped forever between the sea and the afterlife. If you felt the chill, heard the whispers, or sensed the unseen watching, maybe it's time to ask yourself, would you dare to step aboard? Thanks for sailing through the shadows with us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because the darkest stories are yet to come.